Here's part 2 of problem 3. We're going to do problem C and D. And you've got the quadratic formula here just in case we need it. I don't know if we will, but we'll see. So remember, the goal here is to find the x-intercepts, which have other names. They're called zeros and roots. They all mean x-intercepts. And we have to try to factor first. If you do a problem with quadratic formula when it's factorable, I'm going to take off a few points in the test. So factor it first. If it's not factorable, then use the quadratic formula, and you're good to go. So let's try problem C, and first let's see if C is factorable. So let's go ahead and set up a diamond and a rectangle and try to see if it's possible to solve the problem this way, because this is definitely the shortest way if it does factor. All right, go ahead and pause the video and set up the diamond yourself. Welcome back. We've got, for the top number, we have 1 times -8 is -8. That goes to the top. The middle number is -6. That goes on the bottom. And now we want to find two numbers that multiply to -8 but add up to -6. So I'm going to make a list. And if you haven't made the list yourself, pause the video and make the list. Okay, here's the list. Either 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. But to get -8, one number has to be negative. So in this case, let's say they make the one negative. -1 plus 8 would be 7, not -6. And you flip the signs around, make this negative, that just gives you -7, but not -6. So this first combination is not working for us. Here, at first you're like, great, 2 and 4 is 6, that's it. But check this out. One number has to be negative. If you make the 2 negative, this adds up to +2. If you make the 4 negative, it adds up to -2. So this combination doesn't work either. And since both combinations don't work, it's not factorable. There is no possible combination that multiplies to -8 and adds up to -6. So factoring is not possible, and therefore we're going to continue with quadratic formula. If you haven't done so yet, write down the quadratic formula just by memory. Go for it. And here it is once again. Remember, it's the song, the mnemonic anyway, is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And you can search YouTube for, again, like thousands of videos of students doing the same thing. So go ahead and plug in the numbers, use parentheses, and set it up yourself. Do the entire problem. Finish this off with quadratic formula, use the calculator, and I'll check in a second with you. So for my solution, notice that I just put blank parentheses. Do this, it'll save yourself a lot of errors. So here we go. A is 1 because there's 1 x squared, b is -6, and c is -8. Let's plug those in. X equals -b, and b is -6. So here we have parentheses saving our work from getting a negative. So -b plus or minus b squared, which is -6 squared, times 4ac, then all over 2 times a. Check. Now these parentheses we used are saving us big time, because right now we've got, this simplifies to a double negative is +6 plus or minus the square root of here. -6 times itself is positive, because you have negative times negative, so that's 36. And if already you're realizing that you messed up the signs, it's because the negatives inside the parentheses make a difference. Here, negative times positive times negative is positive, because there's 2 negatives, the 8 and the 4. And then after doing the signs, 4 times 1 is 4, times 8 is 32. So there's that. Then all divided by 2 times 1 is 2. Check. Add them up. 36 and 32 is 68. Then split off into 2 directions. One for the positive possibility, one for the minus. And since the square root of 68 doesn't turn out to be a whole number, you have to use a calculator. Use square root of 68, and you'll find out that there's 2 possible. It's still 6. So either 6 plus the square root of 68 is about 8.2. So one possibility is 6 plus 8.2, all divided by 2. The second possibility is 6 minus 8.2, then all divided by 2. And here's the rest of the calculation. Take a calculator, do 6 plus 8.2, equals, divide that by 2, you get about 7.1. Notice how I use the approximation symbol, not an equal sign. 6 minus 8.2 divided by 2, about negative 1.1. And I'm using the approximation symbol because when we did the square root of 68, the square root of 68 is about 8.2, not exactly 8.2. So these are approximations, but they're close to the tens place. So there's that. Let's move on to problem D. So as usual, we're going to try to factor this first because the directions are factor if possible and then use the quadratic formula. So let's see if this thing factors. On your own, make the list and make the diamond. Go for it. So we got 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 on the numerator. The middle term is 1x, so it's 1 down here. We have either 1 times 12 is 12, we have 2 times 6 is 12, we have 3 times 4 is 12, and that's the combinations. To be negative 12, one number has to be negative, and to get 1, it's going to be the 3 and the 4 pair. And for the signs, to get positive 1, it has to be 4 minus 3. That way it multiplies to negative 12, and it adds up to 1. So we've got negative 3 and 4. And to complete the diamond, if you haven't already, or the rectangle, there's the start of every rectangle. Fill in the other 2 corners from your diamond. And from here, to get 2x squared, it has to be 2x times x. But check this out, you can't put the 2x on this side because 2x times something equals negative 3x. That's not going to work out. It's got to be, the 2x has to go on the left-hand side. Oh man, give me a sec. All right, so I was saying the 2x has to go on the left-hand side because 2x can multiply by other things to get 4x. In this case, 2x times 2 is 4x. Cool. Then the x goes to here. So 2x times x is 2x squared, and x times negative 3 would equal negative 3x. And this last box automatically pops out because 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. That was a positive 2. So the factored form is y equals x plus 2 times the quantity 2x minus 3. If you haven't done so, go ahead and put 0 for y and solve this for x using the 0 product property logic. That x has to be something to get 0 overall. Do that on your own, press pause. So here's a little trick for you. If you can't find it out mentally, then make little mini equations. When does x plus 2 equal 0? And just do math there. Minus 2 to both sides. Done. Those cancel out. X equals negative 2. That one was easy enough to see by just guess and check. But this one, some students have a hard time seeing it just mentally, so make it an equation. When does 2x minus 3 equal 0? I don't know, solve for x. Plus 3 to both sides. That's a 3. Plus 3. These guys cancel out. You get 2x left over. And on the other side, we have the 3. Last step, divide by 2, and you've got your answer. This always works, no matter how hard or easy the equation is. So x equals 3 over 2. And those are our 2x intercepts. Negative 2 and 3 halves, but written as negative 2 comma 0 and 3 halves comma 0. All right, see you next video.